Last night, something special occurred. Crowder went on Tim Pool's podcast and 166,000 people turned out. Very, very, very impressive. Hell, even the little Beanie Boy decided to point it out. It's like, well, this is like 140,000 more people than we're used to. It's like, yeah, people are interested in this story, and I listened through the entire thing. I even ran it back earlier this morning when I was out on my run, and it's like, what could you decipher from that entire 2+ hour long conversation? I don't know what went on behind the paywall, okay? I ain't giving Tim Pool a cent of my money. But from what everybody heard, what over 100,000 people heard, okay, at the time of recording, okay, right now the VOD itself is well over 1 million, okay? What could you find that was in that discussion that you could find personally objectionable, especially considering the topics discussed? Now, we'll do a run-through. No, I'm not going to use, Crowder's website. That would be just a touched bias, okay? Robert Barnes made reference to him and used him as a source a bunch of different times. He's been an amazingly good aggregator when it comes to pro-Crowder talking points, and we can take a look at some of the other, just absolutely basement tier takes that have been out there, okay? Jack Bot Sobek, Cerna bitch, okay? Holy fuck, there is not a shortage of really awful and atrocious spins on this type of stuff, because I was thinking, maybe I'm out of the loop on this. I was listening along, okay, when I was doing some editing for some other videos that you'll see in the very near future. Of course. I think Saturday is when I have those ones scheduled. No spoilers or anything, but listening to it on about 2 times speed in order to catch up, okay? I was listening to the points that were being laid out, okay? A couple of different things that were brought up, okay? Everything was done and dusted, okay? And then questions were asked, answers were delivered, and then they just moved on. And some ankle biters in the chat were bringing up, well, what about Nogay Jared and Sven Computer? Do you have them on NDAs? It's like, yeah, they're former employees. Everybody's on NDAs. I don't know what the fuck you're going to try to hope to get from that. Like, what? Okay, cool. You go and talk to some people that haven't been around the situation for years at this point. What are you hoping they're going to say? Okay, somehow that they have some certain insight that nobody else is going to about contract negotiations that happened in late 2022, even though they hadn't been with the company for 4+ years at this point. Cool, good stuff, really biting insight, okay? It really doesn't much matter, okay? When Not Gay Jared was on the show, hey man, I liked him. I thought he was a pretty good addition to it, and the fact that, and again, I've been open with my criticisms of Crowder. The fact that everybody has a nickname is kind of fucking lame, okay? I'm not a big fan of that type of stuff, but that's the way that he wants to run his show, and my appreciation of Crowder comes from the fact that when he really dives into a topic, he fucking nails it like very few other people can. It's the same reason I have reverence somewhat for Tim Pool, okay? When he dives deep in things that are right in his lane, he's basically untouchable when it comes to the facts. And then when he starts to, wade into other areas, then he gets a little bit sketchy, okay? I think that there are people who address a multitude of other topics. Maybe they're a little bit better in the grand scheme of things, but when certain things are in certain lanes, Crowder and Pool are undefeated. And I really enjoyed the podcast. I'd recommend it if you want to go watch it. And the link will be in the description and all that stuff. I just want to get to, okay, I must have been missing something, okay? Because what could you really disagree with if you listen to the entire context? And that's I guess, that's on me, because idiots, where it's like, okay, you guys are proclaiming to be conservative on the right, but you're still doing the exact same tactics. You're listening to clips out of context, not thinking that those conversations would ever be elaborated on, and you're just running with that. Oh, okay, that's just a problem for idiots that are out there, regardless of political affiliation or self-described ideological bent. I understand. I very much understand. I thought we were done with this type of stuff, but no. Somebody went up against the establishment. Somebody wants to try to rock the boat on the status quo, just like crabs in a bucket, my dude. Oh, geez, you should have taken the money, $50 million. That's basketball money. Get fucked. But yeah, we'll go through some of this stuff, and then of course I've got the opposing opinions from other sites as well. This isn't just going to be one big circle jerk. I want to see what the entire conversation surrounding this is, okay? Because I heard from Barnes afterwards. I listened to a couple of different things and a few different breakdowns. Barnes was on Ricada Law last night, and yeah, I listened to that on top of everything else. Not at the time. That shit goes on way too fucking late for me, but in the morning as well. It's amazing how much information you can get once you train your brain to listen to things on 2-3 times speed. But yeah, we'll read through some of these tweets that Barnes has made himself and then also highlighted as well. So retweeting the one of the opening salvos from Crowder. If you say that you're fighting big tech in regards to the offer that Daily Wire and the fact that it's like we're the largest, the growing whatever the fuck community, I don't know, whatever they purport themselves to be at this point in time, it really doesn't much matter. I don't fucking care. It's just establishment hack talking points. Okay, everything's within the Overton window. Okay, if they go outside of that, no, you risk demonetization. You can't be having that in our little fucking workers co-op that's over there. Because if one person gets struck, comrade, that is everybody who's getting struck. So you don't want to get a little bit too obscure with your opinions. Just go ahead and attack the topics that establishment conservatives are allowed to attack. So yeah, if you're purporting yourself to be a big free speech platform, when you say you're fighting big tech, fucking fight big tech. Yeah, exactly, man. Don't have clauses in your contract which total to the ability to end up charging the person who ends up signing the contract if they get deplatformed and demonetized, okay? Because all of the different fees and the different penalties that are in that initial offer sheet that's out there, because if Crowder just didn't go, okay, cool, like this, they wouldn't have just immediately turned that into a contract. So just fucking stop it with the semantics game. And that was something else that was put right out there, okay? This is an offer sheet that everybody gets. It would be turned into a contract if you didn't just immediately look at it and go, good enough. But yeah, currently listening to David Medina, sorry, no idea who you are, but you got a good take here. Currently listening to Crowder Timcast, and I stand by Crowder's concerns. So many people leaned to back the Daily Wire for reasons I don't know. I'm starting to understand, because there's a lot of people that just want to hold up the status quo, and they think that, oh, if you attack Republicans, I remember Ronald Reagan said that you should. Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? These are different times, and you don't have to totally agree with everybody on everything. We're all independent thinkers, so you would think. History will look back and see Crowder as the man who saved conservative media. I sure hope, man. I sure hope. Even Crowder is completely right. From Aidan Kearney. Daily Wire pretends to be fighting big tech, but they kiss their ass because their business model depends on them. If content creators get demonetized on YouTube, they should get a raise and not a deduction. Yeah, because who the fuck knows what's going to get demonetized, okay? Because I've had videos especially, okay? One of the worst examples of this is, well, on my behalf, but the best examples for this analogy would be the Johnny Depp Amber Heard stuff. I couldn't get a single fucking video monetized for that stuff, and it was some of the best viewed content on the channel. I don't know why. I wasn't saying anything that would run afoul of the monetization guidelines. Definitely, all of those videos are still miraculously up because YouTube is just such a fickle beast. None of it ran afoul of content moderation at all whatsoever. No age restriction. It was just the simple analysis of the broader scope. Then in the back end of YouTube, you also get the little feedback thing. It's like, oh yeah, we took a look at, we had a manual review, go over everything, and oh, here's our feedback on it. What was it? Course language. It's like, yeah, okay, I went and clicked that, but it's like, no, you got course language, so then you can't fully monetize everything. Fuck are you talking about? Again, this video, probably after about 24 hours time, I know it's kind of ridiculous, okay, will eventually get monetized, okay? Sometimes that window is shorter, and sometimes, very rarely. I think I've had one, maybe two videos, if I've purposely gone out of the way not to cuss or anything. Heaven forbid, you want to have an actual conversation and speak normal, speak the common tongue. Those videos that you go out of the way to self-censor, oh, those ones will get monetized. It's almost like it's a conditioning of sorts. And then, if you want to be in the Daily Wire shoes, or even still, like Crowder said, okay, this is kind of an industry-wide problem, okay? And he reaffirmed that on the podcast, okay? Like, everybody else has these types of provisions in their offer sheets, contracts, whatever the fuck you want to call it, okay? You need to play ball with all of these companies. Then, at the same time, also say that you purport to fight back against cancel culture, woke cancel culture, or whatever other fucking buzzwords you want to throw out there. Okay. Post-millennial, retweeting the caption, there's no hope for a movement if we claim to be fighting big tech and we sell other people out who are paying us to do so and fighting on behalf of big tech. Exactly. On Joel Hemingway pointing things out appropriately, because holy fuck, last night it was terrible. Okay, because yes, Jack Bot Sobek was just retweeting fucking shit NPC memes. It's like, bro, are you even watching this shit? Like, I understand that you go on Timcast all the time, okay? I don't watch that shit or anything like that. I just see you advertise it because in between you tweeting like a 14-year-old girl. It's like, you're just wrong in this instance. Okay, Crowder, repeat. How many times does a guy have to say, this is not about the money? And then it's like, see, he said it's not about the money and that's clearly projection. The fuck are you talking about? Or trying to do amateur body language analysis? Bro, okay, you were a Chinese spy or you worked for the fucking feds or some form or fashion. CIA or something like that. You were working overseas and shit, okay? He's like, oh, the micro expressions are just off the chain right now. It's just as relevant as trying to figure out what his fucking star sign is. So just stop it. You're just embarrassing yourself. You're a smart journalist in some aspects, but you're really outing yourself as being a corporate shill on the other hand. And, oh yeah, Cerna bitch. Like, that dude is just totally fucking stupid, okay? Like, who holds that motherfucker in high regard, okay? Mr. Gorilla Mindset, the motherfucker who grifted in the manosphere for a hot second and then decided to take on the whole deplorable situation with early Trump movement. And then, I don't know what he's doing over here now. He's just trying to, you know, do the whole traditional masculinity grift into the future. I don't fucking know, man. Just continue to do nothing. Nobody cares about you. You're just a relic of the past. Fucking move on, bro. It would be like if you want advice in 2023 from Tom Likas. Fuck off. But yes, Daily Wire simps like Jack Bot Sobek and Cerna bitch glued to their YouTube screens watching Crowder on Timcast and giving live play-by-play. Yeah, it's pretty atrocious. If you want to take a look back at it, and what's his nuts there? Mark Dice, who, again, he's in the similar frame, okay? Pretty decent journalist, except for Cernovich. He's fucking useless, okay? But Mark Dice, normally pretty good on certain things. He was dropping $100 super chats that Tim Pool was like, oh, that's nice, and not fucking reading it. Having his boy, Luke, I don't remember his last name. Polish or whatever, saying that, oh, people are talking about you gave a counter offer, and Crowder said, yeah, probably my agent sent over something. But later in the podcast, towards the end, if you'd listened to the entire fucking thing, I like, whoever could have thought that you maybe, if you wanted to form some strong opinions on things, maybe you should listen to the entire content of the conversation. What a novel fucking idea. But no, you get to the end of it, and then he's like, yeah, okay, agent, and then he had a bunch of, you know, fucking qualifiers on top of him. Gay, Cuban, you know, super right-wing, like fucking right of Attila the Hun, whatever his descriptors were, okay, saying that, yeah, they fired back with more money, okay, and then underlined a couple of the different provisions, like getting rid of all of the cancel culture shit, everything that he highlighted on there, okay, and then Daily Wire stopped negotiations. There was no counter offer brought back from Daily Wire side. They were the ones ceasing negotiations. They were just like, hey, here's an offer sheet. Crowder side was like, okay, cool, here we go. We're gonna go forward with getting rid of these and maybe upping the money. He wasn't specific on that. I think he said there was an increase in pay. Like I said, I'll link to the podcast there. Feel free to go ahead and watch that. But you also notice something else that's in there as well. Okay, maybe I'll allude to it once we get through the rest of the talking points. But yeah, for any of those idiots, because now it's like right after I watch that and then just it's like, okay, what's the response to the rest of this stuff? Oh, it's all about that misconception because a 2-hour podcast is just far too long for some people to listen to. Oh, see, he lied about the offer sheet because our true and honest savior Ben Shapiro said that there was a counter offer made. It's like, great, wonderful, fantastic. You like your miniature bitching, moaning, whining, and complaining interspersed between birch gold reads? Like, fuck off. But Crowder on recording Jeremy Boring during contract negotiations. Yeah, I think you're going to see that talking point just absolutely demolished going forward. I had to add in a little bit at the end of my previous video there because I brought it up. And just kind of like Crowder during the podcast itself, it was hilarious because, like I've said, I haven't watched Timcast or Tim Pool's show there for a minute, okay? It's just very funny because Crowder is definitely a presence. I know that he's a rather large man. Pause. He's like 6'2" or something like that. He makes those chairs look adorable, okay? And the way that he comports himself, the way that he speaks on the microphone, he definitely knows how to control a room, okay? And people flock to him because of that. Like I said, 166,000 people watching at the time. I know it's a salacious story and all that stuff as well. It's just, those are impressive numbers regardless, okay? As opposed to Tim Pool, who's just mousily sitting on the other side, okay, grabbing and adjusting his microphone. You can kind of see it right there. Okay, I just needed to pause that. No offense, Tim. I kind of liked him in this conversation, but he was constantly stuttering over the top of everything, just trying to seem relevant. Meanwhile, Crowder's on the other side of the table, fucking banging on the table every once in a while, just trying to drive home his point. There's a professional in that studio. As much as Tim Pool likes to maybe silently tout his success and the amount of super chats that were just continuously rolling in, and this is not a knock against him for definitely running a superior grift to just about anybody else on platform, there's just a stark difference between talent quality, and it couldn't have been more on display in that scenario right there. It would behoove Tim Pool to just really move on from this topic going forward, because there's no doing better than this, to be completely honest. Big ups to him for pulling this stuff off. It was good stuff. It was good stuff. But yes, circling back to recording the telephone call, okay, which I opined on, but maybe I'll clarify my positions. I can't quite remember, okay? But how else would people switch from it's all about the $50 million salary to recording a phone call? Do we allow it when James O'Keefe does it? It is only corruption is on the side of the left. Yeah, very interesting, okay? And Crowder brought this up, okay? Texas is a one-party consent state. Regardless, whoever wants to record the phone call can record the phone call. He doesn't need to ask for consent from the other party. Some other states out there need to do that. Texas isn't one of those places. And during the contract negotiations, theoretically, was when this phone call was placed. I would think if you're having communications between the two parties, you would probably want some tape running on this stuff, okay? If you guys were talking about certain things in order to revise certain provisions that are in the contract, you'd want to have a copy of that so that you can go back for reference, okay? That's the most charitable interpretation of that. My position on this is, idiots that have a problem with this, I personally don't have a problem with it at all whatsoever. If you want to record every waking moment of your time, it's probably in your best interest, to be completely honest, especially if you're of Steven Crowder's position. It's the exact same thing, okay? It would be like finding out that your friend came over and stole something from your house, but then you have security cameras going, and then thanks to running back the tape, you figure out that it was your friend that stole the vase. And it's like, I thought we were friends, bro. Why would you record me? The fuck are you talking about? Or whenever you say you bring over a date or something like that, okay, and then she just decides to spurg out and somebody calls the cops, and then when the cops show up, normally they just turn on the waterworks and you're the one going to jail, getting kicked out of your own place. Those same guys that say you just record every conversation and every sort of interaction that that has the propensity to become hostile with an adverse party, those are the same people saying, oh, he shouldn't have done that to a friend. Or these other brain dead idiots that are like, oh, Crowder just went on and it was all about feelings, but Daily Wire's all about facts. Did we not watch that nearly hour-long video that Jeremy had heavy emphasis on boring put out there? Because there were more appeals to emotion in that than you would have in a fucking retiree knitting circle. Holy. But yo, the Unwokeable podcast right here. Okay, quote tweeting, yes, Jack Bot-Sobek. Imagine being a professional YouTuber and accusing others of being pawns for big tech. I don't even know how to respond to something so fucking brain dead, okay? And that was when he was live tweeting the entire affair. Are you not well? Like, did your critical thinking skills just get turned off in this situation? Are you negotiating with Daily Wire? Like, I don't understand. Normally, Sobek's pretty bright, but Bot-Sobek was in full effect this time around, okay? Imagine gaslighting the situation to the point that you sound like a leftist, because that's how it read, okay? Absolutely. Reading through these Twitter feeds, and yeah, I follow Sobek, because I think he's an awfully good content curator. He's definitely a good news headline curator, but whenever this stuff pops up, okay, and especially when Candace Owens spurged out, and we'll get to her in a moment. She was on Tim Pool. He was out there just clapping, going, yes, queen, oh my god. Fucking boomer posting memes. It's like, bro, you have all this time to tweet out every waking moment of your day, but you don't have enough time to go and watch the source material for this before you comment on it, big think, okay? Situations like this Crowder and Daily Wire situation and the Andrew Tate situation have really made me rethink a lot of the people that I used to hold in somewhat high regard. Anyways, after listening to Steven Crowder, this is from Stephanie. Don't know who you are, but hey man, you got a retweet and a pretty good take on this. Steven Crowder on Timcast tonight and perusing Twitter. It really feels like, March, there's either a lot of Daily Wire shills or people that listened with their ears plugged and totally missed what Stop Big Con is about. Exactly, because Crowder multiple times was like, just take Daily Wire out of this, take me out of this situation. These terms that pervade so many different contracts that are out there in the big conservative sphere are detrimental and is the reason why there's no evolution in the talking points of conservative commentators. That's why there's such high levels of burnout in the sphere. And he's 1,000% true, man. Unwokeable again, amazing. Out of everyone sharing clips, they are avoiding this one. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. Bot Sobek and the Bot Millennial. Okay. This one has been my... Oh, they're avoiding this one. This has been my experience. I had local connections to national issues that Big Con doesn't, and several times show them being dishonest or wrong, and they play into this to maintain their narrative. Yeah, of course. And a couple of times, I believe right at the beginning, definitely within the first 30 minutes, there was a poll that went out there. Okay, who is right? Crowder, Daily Wire, and abstain. First time, at least when I seen it, I didn't have a screenshot like Dame Pesos does, okay? It was about 60 some odd percent. Okay, it was definitely beating the brakes off of Daily Wire. I forget what the percentages are, but Crowder was winning. Not by that margin. I think that's a screenshot probably from the final poll after Crowder told his side of the story, as opposed to hearing from the attack dogs that were on previously. But yeah, as somebody who's seen the poll afterwards and even during the podcast itself, Tim does make reference to it towards the end. 62,000 people ended up voting for this, and I think the percentages dip into the 60s, but it's still not all that different in the grand scheme of things. Abstain ends up being like 20% or something like that. I can't quite remember, but see what Barnes points out here. A key point missed in the Steven Crowder Daily Wire Plus debate: the cancel culture clause penalties applied even if Daily Wire suffered no monetary loss from any big tech censorship of Crowder due to Rumble, yes, Daily Wire Plus, email list, value of authentic voice building, audience, etc. Exactly, man. They stood to lose absolutely nothing. Okay, that offer sheet right there, it puts the entire onus of performance on the talent with none of the extended benefits and no incentives to grow. Okay. Because, yeah, here's your big money up front, okay? What you do with it, well, you have to perform, daily, monthly, quarterly, and yearly, okay? Outside of that, though, oh, yeah, we also own your likeness for all the merch that's going to be out there, okay? Any associated projects bearing your likeness, we also own that. Oh, yeah, and by the way, anything that we paid for, well, forced you to make under penalty of less money being afforded to you, we're going to own that in perpetuity, but you can still own yourself after the contract. It's only for 4 years, though. But let's be completely honest. It's a 2-year extension at Daily Wire's discretion for the exact same amount of money. Okay, in 6 years' time, even 4 years' time, prior to to the options being picked up, do you think $12.5 million? And Crowder noted this, okay, independently verified by Tim Pool himself. Took a look at some of the numbers that they have on Mug Club Forever, okay? There is at least 300,000 people. You got that right. 300,000 people ready, willing, and able to sign up for Mug Club day one, whenever it kicks off. So $10 a month, okay, that immediately pays for itself. And if that's on the low end, that's we at least have that many people on top of this media tour that's going on right now. And apparently sometime this week, Crowder's supposed to be on Patrick Bet-David's podcast. That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting to hear. Mostly because I'm sure his little fucking goofy sidekick is going to say something absolutely asinine. Which was... Well, I guess that, what's that fucking goof? Ian? Right, Ian. Yeah, Krigler with Down syndrome. Okay, he had a couple of asinine things, but Crowder put him in his place at one point, and it was good. It was really good. But we can continue to go down this stuff, but that's everything that I was seeing picked out, okay? Oh, you guys engaged in contract negotiations, and this just ended up falling out, and now you're bitter about it. Nah, bro, clarify that stuff. You have people that used to work for you under NDA, and that's a lot of money. For one, that's how everybody does it, and what would, former employees have to say about the situation? Totally fucking irrelevant. And basketball money, you have no idea. A staff of 30 people needs to be paid on that much money. Break it down per year. Roughly works out to about $60,000 per episode that you have to do, that you have to hit all of the ad reads that you can't push the envelope on certain topics of. It goes from being a situation where, yeah, you're going to get a boost whenever Crowder comes back in whatever form that was going to be. But then when people start to theoretically gleam onto the fact that you're doing a bunch of ad reads, you aren't doing any of the sketches that you're known for, you aren't really, discussing certain things with a certain veracity that you would have prior to signing this new contract, people are going to start to rumble. Not the platform or anything like that. Love Rumble. People are starting, hushed murmurs are going to start, and then eventually it's going to be, yeah, this motherfucker sold out. We aren't going to fuck with this any further, okay? And then it just basically becomes another talking head show with the same homogenous background that the rest of the Daily Wire contributors have out there. And speaking of which, we got Candace Owens barking up another fucking tree. My God, is she making herself to be a total fucking asshole at this point in time. Daily Wire host. This is from Media Matters. Like I said, man, this isn't going to just be a hug box or anything like that. I'm not going to use any of the source material from Crowder himself. We'll go over to Media Matters, who's really placing Daily Wire below Steven Crowder when it comes to the hierarchy of evil nemesis on the right, because Media Matters, if this was any other situation, they would still be going after Candace Owens and Daily Wire as hard as they would Steven Crowder, but Crowder's the bigger voice in the room, okay? He would be the bigger head to put on their wall, theoretically, if we're doing sport hunting analogies. But I look at this and it's like, oh, somebody's upset that they signed a terrible contract that just really curtails them. Remember how Candace Owens was going to have this big talk show and Daily Wire was very much promoting it, and now nobody gives a fuck about it? Yeah, Candace Owens is big mad. Prior to last week, who the fuck was talking about Candace Owens? The only time that she was relevant was when she was going into personal attacks on other people. Okay, one, I can very much understand because she's kind of an entitled twat, but then she also underhandedly attacks, what's her name? Kim Klacik from Baltimore. It's like, you used to be a stripper. Well, that's just verifiably untrue, you fucking self-righteous twat. Like, what are you even doing? I know, some people like Candace Owens, but when she starts to go into these self-obsessed fucking rants, like, it's really hard to get behind her in these situations, man. Like, Daily Wire host Candace Owens makes ominous remarks about giving certain information regarding Steven Crowder. So are these trade secrets being leaked, or is it just, oh my God, he's got a tiny penis? Like, what are you talking about here? Who the fuck knows, man? Over the weekend, I've gotten a lot more information regarding Steven Crowder. Oh, so she's going back to her old cancel culture roots. Okay, wonderful, fantastic. A lot more background information regarding what could have possibly led to this moment. Oh my God, do you think you got another big get, like saying, oh, he registered a domain in mid-December that said stop Big Con? After months of contract negotiations from all of the different big conservative outlets. Wow, who the fuck cares? Realistically, man, this was the dude who's seen all the offers in front of him, and it's like, somebody needs to speak up about this, okay? He said, okay, in the response video to Daily Wire, and then on Tim Pool's podcast as well, it's like, I thought about this a lot. I prayed about it, okay, because his boy Gerald there ends up getting promoted to CEO of what exactly? I'm not entirely sure. I guess whatever the new venture is going to be. But yeah, do you think Crowder actually wanted to out somebody who he's worked on multiple projects? They just had the worst contract. Oh well. Even Tim Pool, if you want to do some reading in between the lines, also outed himself as saying that, yeah, he was in negotiations with Daily Wire. They're even more milquetoast than Tim Pool, if you can fucking believe that, okay? Because he made the statement that, okay, well, would it be in bad Daily Wire taste if I was to go and buy a billboard that says Liz Cheney is a fat pig? Apparently, that's a bridge too far for Daily Wire, mostly because they're just kind of a Bushites pushing a certain agenda, but hey, man, to each their own, of course. And that's ultimately one of many things that led Tim Pool to just continue to make something like $4 million a month. Good money. Hell, great money if you can get it, man. It's just this is a guy who plays within the rules in order to make the most profit possible. But he is building an infrastructure. Man, when I don't think of Tim Pool, that's the best when I think of Tim Pool. Okay. Anyways, back to what Candace Owens had to say on this. Okay, because she's got the document. She's sitting there like Adam Schiff, far more attractive than Adam Schiff, and the eyes aren't nearly as big. Okay, she's just off on this topic. Okay, tend to like some of her takes, especially when she goes hard on the big con of race grifting. She's pretty good on that stuff. Okay, it's just like Shapiro, and it's just like Matt Walsh. When they stick in their lanes, they're awfully good at that stuff. But outside of that, you fucking lose everybody because he goes so spastic. And not to my surprise at all, obviously, this really doesn't have anything to do with the Daily Wire. What? I thought the whole I thought this was about being lowballed, which apparently you thought this was beforehand, but no. You've got more information. It has nothing to do with the Daily Wire. See, these narratives, boy, they are a-shifting. And his actions are a symptom of something much larger. And I want to choose my words very carefully. Well, that would be a start, because I'm not angry anymore. Pause. Did you just reveal something? Were you acting out irrationally beforehand? I thought you were supposed to be this logical girl. I thought you were the red pill black before. Come on now. Steven has a lot going on, I guess, is the best way to say. He's got a lot going on. So this is some high school ass shit. And that should be clear because people don't do stuff like this if there's not a lot going on in their lives. Somebody's projecting. You don't sell out your friend. Well, you don't lowball your friend either, and then you don't try to emotionally leverage everybody else that's out there. We offered him $50 million, and that's a lot of money to somebody. You would like $50 million, and he walked away from it, and now he's making us look bad. I watched the initial video. He didn't mention you at all, and he didn't mention any numbers beforehand. But yeah, no, $50 million is a lot of money. But no, that's your friend, though. You don't record conversations. Yeah, you do. That's why you keep all the DMs. That's why you keep all the text messages, just in case somebody decides to go rogue. And you've got receipts. This is what you do. Hey man, in another sphere that I'm in, okay? You do that with girls, okay? All the time, man. You keep all the communications because you never know when one has a fucking screw loose. But to be fair though, they aren't my friends. I don't try to fuck my friends. Like, what are we doing? These things are actions of individuals that are perhaps acting out of desperation. Yo, man, again, if you had like a radiation detector, that motherfucker would be pinning right now if it was a projectionometer. You have to dig deeper, and you have to look deeper to fully understand the picture of why somebody might do that, and certainly not because somebody is upset with a $50 million contract. That's you guys, though, because that's all your talking points, okay? That or, yeah, we had really long contract negotiations. Stupid Michaela Peterson. Enough with that bitch already. She is just as fucking bad as Candace Owens. I'm gonna come out and fucking say it. Okay, she runs some fucking Daily Wire cover by saying that, well, I helped negotiate my father's contract because you can't do anything by yourself. Mostly because if you didn't have the Peterson last name, if you were actually Michaela Fuller, nobody would give a fuck about anything that you have to say in this conversation, okay? He did some hack tactics against Rolo. You continue to parrot all of his talking points, but you never want to poke the bear anymore. He took you to the proverbial woodshed, and you're still fucking big butthurt about it, okay? So then you'll just go and talk to your less offensive versions of what he's talking about, the exact same fucking guys, and then just say, well, have you ever talked to Rolo? I just wonder, because that's another person I haven't thought about in a very long time, for very good reason. I just wonder if she's ever found that babysitter in Miami that she was looking for. I really hope that search was successful, that she was sourcing on Instagram. Unfucking believable. Imagine leaving your ex-husband who helped you get your father, who you care for more than your daughter, helped get him well, and then you leave him again, and then you leave his offspring with somebody that you found on Instagram. Wow, that sucks. Anyways, what did Candace Owens have to say about this? Circling back, Michaela was also being a fucking attack dog as well. Just, stop it already. And because I'm now more aware of certain information, rather than being angry, I would like to implore my audience, both of them, and everybody that has been paying attention to the situation, not to condemn him, but pray for him. Oh, now you're just trying to shame him. Oh, how adorable. Sometimes people need a prayer. Sometimes people need a scripture. Oh, now you're trying to pull the God pill on them? Bruh, just fuck off already. Oh my god. I feel so bad for you. Not because this term sheet was fucking atrocious and predatory. No, it's because she's got some inside information that she's never gonna have to reveal. It's just all of these shadowy interpretations of things. Just hold the L, you spastic. You know, Stephen purports to be a Christian, and I believe that he needs to lean into his faith. Why would I take your advice on anything? Here's another, mom who was so excited. Oh my god, I'm gonna be a mom. Been an awful lot of time thinking about another man. I'm just wondering. Somebody giving you the tingles for once? And I'm certain that in the near future, more information will come out. Oh, I won't have to leak it or anything like that. It's like, oh yeah, here's your big information. Did you know Steven Crowder has a heart condition and he has 2 titanium rods in his chest? Oh, somebody needs to pray for him. Real good investigative journalism here, Candace. You should get together a doxing list to try to send out there. Make sure no bad people on the internet ever hurt you again. Media Matters. They're trying to paint this as a bad thing, but this is kind of a twofer here. Defending Steven Crowder. Okay, so again, this is Media Matters trying to take down Steven Crowder for like the 95,000th time. Okay, so you've already got me there. And then he put Alex Jones in there. Oh, it's adorable. It calls Ben Shapiro, who now you're outing yourself as supporting Ben Shapiro, but then because you guys also hate Alex Jones, and Alex Jones is trying to help out Steven Crowder, this isn't working the way that I'm sure you hoped it would, okay? Calls Ben Shapiro Judas Iscariot, and claims the Daily Wire is controlled opposition. I wonder what Bot Sobek's opinion on this would be, okay? Because Alex Jones just called Ben Shapiro controlled opposition. Ben Shapiro, who also claimed that Nikki Haley is his spirit animal, by the way, that he's controlled opposition. So imagine running InfoWars and claiming somebody else is controlled opposition. Would that be his take on this? I'm just wondering, man. Just spitballing, as it were. And worse than Democrats. Yeah, because what's that Marcus Tullius Cicero quote? I'll paraphrase it, but a traitor is more treacherous than the enemy at your front. The enemy at your back is the far worse threat. I butchered that, but it's a long quote. And it's a good quote, because somebody purporting to be on your side, and then all of a sudden when you discover, oh, this is how you guys run your operation. Okay, bye. Oh, what? Don't upset the apple cart. Fuck off. Alex Jones. All right, let's get into this. The media calls, it is a circular firing squad between Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro, but it's not. He said, I don't want the $50 million, which is over 5 years with bandwidth and crew. That's 6 years, Alex. I understand. You're getting a couple of the details wrong, but that's fine. Interdimensional elves and everything. That's not that much money, folks. And it ain't worth that much. I can tell you what it takes to run this. He's running a similar operation. He just doesn't have the nice screens behind him or anything like that. And no, he's 1,000% true. Hey, Barnes again. Didn't know that. They spun it. He was mad and wanted more money. So he realizes the recordings showing that it wasn't. He had to. People said, oh, he's a bitch releasing that. He's only recorded people 3 times. I don't record people very often, but I did with Megyn Kelly because when it's the evil, when it's that evil, you should record it. Give us your take on it, Barnes. Yo, and shout out Megyn Kelly for being awful. Robert Barnes. Absolutely. That contract wasn't a $50 million contract. The contract was an indentured servitude contract to be loyal to big tech or you lose your money for the next 6 years. Exactly. It's $12.5 million a year. Okay. It's $12.5 million for all of the production, for the studio, for everybody that works there. 25, soon to be 50 or 30 people working there. Okay. It's the production for the quarterly specials, not the yearly special. You get a little stipend for that. But for the monthly stuff as well. So $60,000 a show quickly becomes much less than that. So no, it's not $50 million directly going into Steven's pocket. It goes to the Louder with Crowder Studios, and then you've got to disseminate it from that. Any honest person would understand that, but this is the Daily Wire after all. Oh, so Barnes, the Daily Wire was funded by billionaire family out of Texas, connected to the natural gas and fracking. Yeah, this is where, okay, maybe I didn't know everything about this, okay? But again, here comes Barnes with the information, because that motherfucker is an encyclopedia of obscure facts. He's so smart. That's involved in real-world a real weird religious movement that backed Ted Cruz. All right, it founded the Daily Wire to take out Breitbart and Bannon, to try to take out the populist wing of the Republican Party. Jeremy Boring has admitted that, and being an anti-Trump platform was their foundation. Yeah, exactly, because you have old fucking Speedy Shapiro there. That was his bread and butter for a long time until it became politically expedient to flip the switch in about 2019, early 2020, where, oh yeah, we need a conservative at all costs, and actually Trump wasn't that bad. Do we need to run out his take on the vaccine? Do we need to run out Benny Boy's take on the mask mandates or anything like that? He's such a smart little kid when he's debating college students, but outside of that, I could do without. They were backed by spook-related money, not black or anything like that. Deep state money. That's spook right there. And spook-related sources. Their goal, it's not a coincidence that they were big backers of Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz also runs a podcast with Michael Knowles, who also is on Daily Wire. Just keep that in mind. Not a coincidence. They were big Trump haters. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Ted Cruz might have changed his tune, but Daily Wire, they're kind of outing themselves now, aren't they? Jones. All right, now I can go back into my little impression, and it helps them just a touch under the weather. At least my voice, okay? Voice and a little bit of congestion. Outside of that, I feel great, okay? It's just, that's what happens with a little touch of a head cold. I'll be better soon. There's no doubt that you're gonna, if you're gonna control the opposition, you should lead it, okay? It's 100% that Ben Shapiro is a figurehead. There's some good people at the Daily Wire. I don't want to attack them all. I'm just going to tell you folks, they are worse than the Democrats. They are Judas goats. They are the Judas goats. They are Judas Iscariot. Ben Shapiro is Judas Iscariot. Crowder didn't realize he was stumbling into Operation Mockingbird operation. But I mean, to give people an idea, the Daily Wire is backed by billionaires, probably a $1 billion company, makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year. The deal was done in order to lock up and co-op and control and cabin and contain conservative voices, which is what Fox News has been doing forever. Which is what Fox News did forever. Barnes, absolutely, exactly right. No, exactly, because you read that contract. Don't need to read the rest of this. I'll just go ahead and bring up a nice little helpful illustration, okay, to really just, put a bow on this. We're wrapping up. You can tell by the timeline anyways, okay? You read that contract back, and apparently, according to Steven, okay, you take a look at any of those contract offers that get put out there. They are controlling. They do not incentivize growth. They just simply penalize you from getting outside of the little box of acceptable ideas. Whatever conservatives have left, okay? Matt Walsh is stupid. What is a woman? Oh, that's great. That kind of broke into the mainstream. But realistically, at the end of the day, what the fuck did you do? Hey, TERFs are all right, okay? You just went and repackaged feminism in a different way. You're just like, no, we need to stand up for our queens. Your queens that cucked out to the other side that said, well, love really is love. And now they're just trying to make sure that none of those creepy broad-shouldered men walk into their little girl's change room. How did we get to this situation? By not pushing back. And that's what Crowder noticed right there, okay? He goes off on wild tangents, okay? Crowder this is, okay? It's kind of a stream of consciousness whenever he delivers his messages, okay? He might not be the most eloquent speaker, but he is honest. That is something that I've always taken away from him. Might not be the funniest guy that I've ever seen, but he is definitely somebody with credibility. As opposed to some of the people at the Daily Wire, some of the most loudest voices. That doesn't make grammatical sense. There's some of the loudest voices that are speaking up against them right now. You can poke holes in them. You don't even have to go back that far. Matt Walsh, he was still very pro-lockdown, very pro-vaccine. All of a sudden, then he grew a little bit of a thicker beard, and then he got himself on, Dr. Phil to really knock down those pillars of the trans community. The old bearded lady that was up there and her boyfriend, or whoever that nonsense ended up working out, okay? Really tackles the hard topics that are out there. Crowder, on the other hand, will send people out to do some address checks in Nevada for the 2020 election. He will go and sit for multiple days in order to debate a topic, or cut his teeth with the Change My Mind segments. He doesn't get paid from YouTube. He still continues to do it. He gets paid by the support of the people that appreciate his content. It's a laudable endeavor. He's made it incredibly successful. I truly believe that this is not about money for him. But all of the vultures that are out there, the people with the loudest voices against him, continue to harp on the money because that's what's at the front of their mind That's what they care about more than anything else. Just grifting off of the topic. Until we get further developments on this, and hey man, I like talking about this type of stuff. It's very interesting. That's why the video is as long as it is, because I follow a similar thought process that Crowder does. I don't really give that much of a fuck about the money, okay? Sure, I would like to be paid a living wage from YouTube, but I'll get there. It's all about providing information for the people. For anybody that's still listening to this message, I want you to be as well informed as possible, even if it's not the most popular topic, even if it's not the most popular opinion on said topic. It's what I think is true, because I think authenticity in today's day and age is more important than turning a buck. It's funny to say, given the fact that Tim Pool is on the screen. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.